Dating is an inherently exclusionary process.
I just got finished watching Cat Black's video about dating being inherently exclusionary. And I agree, and I just want to offer my perspective on this. I am now at a point in dating life, my dating life and my sex life, where you have to have some type of trans experience before you get to me. I'm not into first timers. I'm not I'm not into anybody that I have to convince to choose me or to be with me because you're dealing with issues around your sexual identity, what it means for you to publicly be with me as a trans woman, how that it's just certain conversations that at 37 I'm just not engaging in when it comes to my dating and my sex life. And I remember, especially in my 20s, because I've physically I've been living as a woman, moving through the world as a woman since I was about 18, 19 years old. And I remember in my 20s just being so hyper obsessed over passing as much as I could and being in as somebody that primarily dates men and primarily sleeps with men. I would be so obsessed with trying to adapt my transition to be able to fit into a man's world should I get a man. I remember my obsession got so severe that on my dating apps I'm putting pictures on my profile and I'm obsessing over what pictures to use because I feel like, ooh, if I use this picture, I'm gonna look like a man, it's gonna be too clocky and they're gonna find tea. And I would just obsess for hours over what pictures to put up, what I would write in my ad because I didn't want to appear too trans. I didn't want to be found out. And then it would be the thing where I didn't want to bring my tea up in the beginning because I had the mindset that a lot of us have where I want him to get to know me for the real me. And then maybe if I pump my tea later, that'll change his mind. But luckily, I have lived life long enough and I've had enough experiences to know that if a man has an issue with your transness, that is always going to be an issue, no matter how much you pass, no matter how good you think you are being to him, and how you're offering him this love and care. If at the core, he's not envisioning his life with a trans woman in it, and there's no reference for that, th- no amount of love, no amount of doting on him, it's not going to change that. And then in my experience, it had to shift to, okay, I'm doing all of this stuff to please a man, but what do I want? What is important to me? Where's my pleasure? So I started having that shift like in my 30s. It kind of started when I was living in Chicago, but then when I moved to DC, it kind of went to another level. And here in Texas, it's a whole nother game. And I'm not willing to waste my time with somebody that is not sure about trans women. And also, I am perfectly fine with a man rejecting me because he doesn't want to be with a trans woman or he doesn't see his life with a trans woman. I, the vision that I want for not only me but for every trans woman is that we share space with men. We come across a man. He might be attracted to us. I want it to be where my tea can be spilled on my terms and my way, and then not be a violent reaction. And I'm starting to see that a little bit where I pump my tea, and the guy's like, "Well, that's not really what I'm looking for." Okay, fine, let's go our separate ways. But I have gotten so comfortable with being rejected because I've been rejected so many times. But that's okay because I don't want to invest my time and energy into somebody that really doesn't see me as an option. But it has opened my eyes up and it's opened my prospects up to the people who are comfortable with me. to the people where I don't have to have a conversation and we don't have to have a pseudo psychiatry session, or we don't have to play these games, because a lot of men will love to play in this gray area where in the back of their mind they know they're not going to take you seriously, but they're going to string you along because everybody likes attention and everybody likes to have access to have sex with people, especially if they think nobody's going to know about it. But I have gotten comfortable with being rejected because I'm trans at no matter what point that I'm interacting with somebody, whether it's the beginning or the end. But also, I have my list of things that I'm willing to reject men over, and you should see the men's faces when I tell when I and I'm very particular about language and how I'm talking and being very crystal clear because I don't want to waste my time. And you should see the faces when I have been the one that has been rejecting men because they either have no experience with trans women at all, they can't directly articulate it, or they're just on the fence, and then they just can't wonder why I'm just not going to go down this road with them. I'm like, no, because whether if it's just a hookup or if this is us seriously dating, this is not going to lead me to where I'm trying to be. And I'm just at a point in my life where I'm tired, especially when it comes to men. I'm tired of letting situations and things happen to me, and I have been very intentional in these past few years of taking control of my life and grabbing things by the horns and being very intentional about who I'm letting into my bedroom, who I'm dating, who I am sharing personal parts of my life with. Because just like they get to have a choice, I should have a choice as well. But I just wanted to add my 2 cents to this conversation. Thank you, Kat Black, for always challenging us to really think about these things at a critical level. And yeah, it's okay for men to reject us because we're transgender. I am totally fine with that because I want somebody that is choosing to be with and engage with all parts of me, and they have a reference of knowing what that comes with. That's for me. But what about y'all? Because I know this is a very nuanced thing, so there'll be different answers. But let's talk in the comments. And if I see a comment I like, I might make a response to it.